Hey guys, welcome to my channel and I'm back again with another really interesting Leetcode Premium video. Today we are going to solve question number 1086 high 5. And guys, before we start with the problem statement, let me show you what companies this question has been asked into, because I have got Leetcode Premium. You can see that it has been asked almost 13 times in 0 to 3 months in Goldman Sachs and 3 times in Amazon. So definitely if you are trying for some financial institution, I guess this is an important question. Now let's get started with the problem statement. Now basically guys, here we are given a list of the scores of different students, which is called as items. And let me just try to explain you with this example below. So you can see that we are given this list called as items, and this is a list of scores. And basically this list has got a 2-item small list inside, and this 2-item list contains the first item as the ID of the student and the second item as the score of the student. What we have to find out is what are the top 5 average of each student with a particular ID, and that we have to output as a result. So for example, here we are given these ID score combinations and we have to output as a result, where you can see that for ID 1, for this student, the average of his top 5 subjects was 87, and for ID 2, the average of his top 5 subjects is 88. We also have to return the output in a manner that the IDs are sorted. So for example, the lower ID comes before in the result and the higher ID comes after in the result. Okay, here you can see the explanation as well, that ID1 got these scores. So ID1 basically got 6 scores, 91, 92, 60, 65, 87 and 100, but we only add up the top 5 scores to calculate an average. So you can see that score 60 is not mentioned here. So we get the top 5 average as 87, and for ID2 we only have 5 subjects, so we definitely add all of them, but when we divide it by 5 we get a decimal number. So we don't really care about the decimal here, we just have to give their average as an integer value. So we discard the 0.6 and we just give it 88. And example 2 is pretty similar as well. Let's go into the constraints guys, that the length of the item here is 1 to 1000. Each and every item is like a small 2-value list, so that length is 2. IDs go from 1 to 1000, score go from 0 to 100, and for each ID there will be at least 5 scores. There could be more, but for each ID there is at least 5 scores. Now, how do we actually solve this problem? So for solving this problem guys, we are going to do a customized sorting. And by customized sorting, I basically mean is that you sort in a way that is a little bit different than manual sorting. And by that I mean is that you create your own sorting function, right? So let's say I usually sort the items by default, right? Like this. And this is gonna basically sort my item based upon the first key. But I don't want to do that, right? Because in my case, I am actually considering both the elements of my item. So the first attribute that I want to sort my items is the ID attribute, and the second attribute that I want to sort my items is the score attribute. But here for ID I want a positive sorting because I want it to be in a ascending order, but for scores I want it to be a descending order. So I want to multiply it with -1, or basically I want to do a negative sorting, right? Once you have actually sorted your elements in such a way that you have got your ID first and then you have got your scores next, now you are able to iterate over this these items, right? So loop over items, and once you loop over items guys, what we are going to do is we are going to just store the top 5 elements in a map or in a dictionary which is corresponding to that ID. So it will be a map of my ID and my top 5 scores. Okay, so this is going to be my first loop. Once your first loop is completed and you know that you don't have more than 5 items mapped to each ID, you just have 5 exact items mapped to each IDs, I can just easily loop over my map and for each and every key I can create an average and I can fill up my result list where the first item is going to be my ID and the second item is going to be the average, which I can easily calculate through these top 5 scores. Okay, so that is the basic algorithm, guys, and I hope you guys understood this algorithm. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to simply paste the code for it, and we are going to go through this code line by line, and we will also execute it. Okay, so here's how it works. The first thing I have done is I have sorted the items array, and you can see that I'm using a simple lambda function here, and this lambda function first takes the x0, which is my ID, as the sorting element, and then it takes the x1, which is my score, as a sorting element, but it adds a negative to it so that the scores are sorted in a descending order, but first the IDs are sorted, which is in an ascending order. Then I also declare my dictionary here, and then I start to loop over my items list. When I loop over my items list, I just check if that item is present or that ID is present in my dictionary or not. If the ID is present in my dictionary, then I check that if the length of the items, if the length of the values corresponding to that dictionary key, or basically corresponding to that ID, is it greater than 5 or less than 5 or not. If it is less than 5, it means that I haven't added all my top 5 scores yet. I can add more. So I simply find out the list of scores corresponding to my key or corresponding to my ID in the map, and then I append that score to it. Okay, so I'm simply now appending the top 5 scores. If that key is actually not present in my dictionary, it means it's a new key. So I am just appending that key in my dictionary or adding it into my dictionary, and then corresponding to that, I'm just adding the first score that I have encountered, but doing that in a singular item list. Okay, if you continue this for loop, at the end of the day, for every single ID, you will have a list of 5 items in that map as a value. Okay, now that my map is built, I will create my result, that is my output array, and I will go through all the IDs in my map, which is basically every key in my map, and all I'm gonna do is calculate the average. So here I'm just calculating my average by summing up all the values in that particular map corresponding to that key in the map, dividing it by 5. But we need this integer wrapper right here because we only want the integer part of it and not the decimal part. And finally we append that average corresponding to that key in my result in a 2 item list, and then we return the result. Okay, let's run this code, guys. Let's see if this works for our cases. It does work for all our test cases, and you can see it will get submitted as well. And there you go, it's got submitted. Now let's talk about the time complexity here. Now, so for time complexity, guys, it's pretty straightforward that we are using a sorting algorithm, and this sorting algorithm is going to take n log n of time, right? And then you can see that we are using 2 for loops here. The first for loop is just going through all the items, so it is going to be n or linear. And then the second for loop is going through all the items in my map, and let's say if we have got n keys, it is going to be n, right? So in total, I can clearly say that this is going to be a linear a n log n time complexity, because n log n is obviously a higher value than n, and n, it takes over my overall complexity and becomes n log n, right? Cool. So now let's talk about the space complexity. So space complexity, guys, is going to be order of n. Why order of n? Because we are using an extra data structure. Here, guys, I'm not calculating the result as an extra data structure because this is something that was asked of us. But because I did create an extra map for storing all my top 5 averages, we do have a space complexity of order of n. Okay. And guys, this is how I would solve this problem, and you can see that it pretty much clears up all my test cases as well. If you guys have more options to solve this problem, please do give in the comment section below. Everybody is going to benefit from that. And thank you so much for watching, guys. If you did like this video, then please do not forget to like this video and share this video with your friends. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, feedback for me, please do write down in the comment section below. I would be really happy to address them. And in the end, guys, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe and hit the bell icon for future notifications of more such programming and coding related videos. I'll see you guys in the next video, guys. Until then, take care and bye bye.